celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
About 70% of our animals, dogs and cats, get cancer. And this is, one of the strange...
70%?
70%. Isn't that hard to believe?
Jeez.
And we'll be talking to an oncologist in just a few minutes, Dr. Gerald Post, and he'll tell us why there is plenty of hope if your animal is diagnosed with cancer.
I have my own theories on it. I think corn is the culprit. I really do. It's in everything. And, you look at the Asian countries, they're so low. The incidence of cancer is so low because they don't eat corn. They don't eat anything with corn in it.
But then look at the Indians. Indians lived and they had a very heavy corn diet. They died well before cancer could happen. Does that mean that cancer...
it was different. It was different corn. It was a staple of their diet, but it was different. It was a different genome of corn.
The corn we have now is so altered, it doesn't really resemble much of the original corn.
Yeah, and even so, like Dr. Debbie, look at every ingredient in your cupboard. You're going to see corn syrup in everything. So we're getting overloaded with corn. It's the wrong type of fatty acid because your cells reproduce with omega-3 and omega-6, and corn is omega-12. So you start getting irregular cell reproduction, and that's what cancer is.
I'm going to have to find a little bit more research before we start saying corn's a killer here.
I'm not saying corn is a killer. I'm just saying that's my theory, and I would stay away from it as much as possible. That's what I do in my life.
Well, the facts are that 70% of our animals end up in the hospital or at the vet clinic because of cancer. And in just a few minutes, we're going to talk to Dr. Gerald Post. He is the founder of the Animal Cancer Foundation. We'll ask him if it's the corn, or ask him if there are certain areas that have cancer more than other areas in the world.
See, and I wonder if it's like cleaning products and stuff that your animals ingest.
They seem to have a higher rate of cancer than humans do. So, makes you wonder, makes you think. That's all on the way right here on Animal Radio. Also, because Westminster starts Monday. Excuse me. So today we're going to have Jerry Grymeck from Hotel Penn joining us, as well as this lady who's written a book called Dog Confidential. Is it Dog Show Confidential? She's going to have all the gossip of what's happening behind the shows. Okay, that's all on the way.
The dirt.
This hour on Animal Radio. Stacey, what are you working on?
Well, I know it can be pretty cold if you're in the Northeast or the East, and when your dog has to go to the bathroom, it's like, I'll let him out in the backyard and I'll wave while they're going, right? Because you don't want to walk outside. It's too frickin' cold. Well, don't do that. You got to pick up the poop. I don't care if you think that it's frozen there and nobody's going to notice. The thing is, it can make other dogs sick. And I'll tell you more information about this, and you might think twice about putting those boots on when you go outside and watch your dog. All right? All right. Coming up on Animal Radio News.
Pick up the poop, damn it. Hi, Violet. How are you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Good. Where are you calling from today?
Over in Pooches Playground, and I have some bad news for some of my little ones doing again here. And my customers are asking if they could fix their Maltese because she is being aggressive to people when they hold her. And when she's in the car, she barks at them and tries to get to them. And then all the people that come to her house, she tries biting them.
Wow.
Oh, she's a little spitfire, let me tell you. And she's in my daycare, and I have to tell her no. And I have big dogs and little dogs together. And right now I'm training a pit Great Dane boxer. I don't know, but she did good. I put her in the crate, came back out, and she's doing fine. She's not going over to the bugger. Now, Malteses sit on their little perch, and they bark at them, and they want them to pay attention to them. So,
well, let me ask you this. This dog is in your daycare. When the dog starts barking like a maniac, what do?
I have to tell him no.
And then what does he do?
He keeps barking.
Exactly. Pays no attention to you at all.
No,
Zero.
No.
Nada. Nothing.
No. He thinks he's the boss, and that's because of the way they raise him.
Hey, you just put your finger on the pulse of the problem. He thinks he's the boss. Now, let's just tell the listeners why do dogs bark, okay? Dogs bark for a variety of reasons. Maybe something physically is wrong. That could be a reason. Aside from that, they want attention. They're bored. They're frustrated. They're afraid. They're protecting their territory. They're excited. They want to play. That's pretty much every reason why a dog will bark, and to alert you that somebody's coming. So the easiest way to get a dog to stop barking is to be territorial territorial and be a pack leader and take over the territory as your own. So if your dog were, let's say, running to the front door and barking every single time the doorbell rang, you would immediately take that space away and herd your dog away from the door and teach your dog to lay on a blanket. You know, tell your dog, go down, stay in your spot. Down, stay in your spot. You also teach your dog the word quiet. And when you get your dog to lay in his spot, you give him a treat. You have a buddy help you with this. You have somebody outside, and you have him on a cell phone, and you go, okay, knock on the door now. And your dog starts to go nuts, and you go, get back on that blanket. Down. Down, stay. Dog does it. Good dog. Give him a treat. And you progress until the person is until they're coming through the door. And if you have a real bad case, every person that comes through the door should have a treat for the dog and actually go over to where the blanket is or where the dog's spot is and give the dog a treat. So the dog forms a good association with people coming through the door. And you have to be consistent. You have to be patient. And above all, you have to be calm and you have to be confident. And you also can't give up. It doesn't work one time. You have to do it for a long time. To change dog behavior is a process.
Okay, so when they're in my daycare, I tell them to get up in their chair and sit down, and they do. Don't
tell them, that's good. If the dog knows what get up in the chair is, that's good. Forget about the word no. You've got to use a correction. As soon as the dog starts to bark, poke the dog in the neck with your fingers and go, shh, just like that. Give him a poke and shh.
I do it with the big dogs, in the back end.
Well, with the little dog,
listen.
With the little dog, as soon as that dog starts to go crazy, walk right in front and stand there for a second. And if the dog doesn't stop barking, take the dog, put the dog in a quiet room or in a crate.
But
every time.
Hold her 24/7, and
What'd you say?
they don't walk her.
Well, see, that's a problem too. Dogs need exercise. I mean, if a dog doesn't
hold her. And baby.
Well, you can't train the owners. It's real sweet that you call for the owners. I mean, that you're the middleman. That's real sweet of you to do that.
I'm in the middle of this,
Yeah, but you can't help these people because I tell you what, there's so many people that can't be helped. I mean, they come to me all the time. All the time they come up
for Puffy, and now he's doing good because the owner did the crate, and then now he's doing better. Now he's on a diet, and he's doing great. He's doing really good. We're real surprised with him right now. So
I love you. You know what?
And he thought he was the alpha.
Joey and I are going to come stay with you. We love you. Joey's going to groom everybody and everything that walks and talks, and me, I'm just going to stand there and go, hey, shh.
Boy, you're nice. Easy under that.
You're a nice.
They take these dogs to Las Vegas. They take these dogs in strollers. They take these dogs everywhere.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. I mean, they're not treating
Put them on a leash, get them walking.
That's right. Dogs are dogs. Dogs are not people. Dogs don't belong in strollers. That's insane.
Yeah,
that's kooky.
They put pajamas on these dogs. They put everything in here. I'm combing them out.
Hey, Joey, I went to a wedding in New Jersey one time when I was a kid. It was outside, and this lady comes up to me. It was under a tent. Rich people were having it. This lady comes up to me in a stroller, with a stroller. She says, you want to see my babies? And I go, sure. And she pulls back the blanket, and she's got these two miniature little white things in there, little poo-poo, foo-foo dogs. And I'm like, this lady's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Poo-poo dogs, but I don't do that. They are on leashes, and they walk.
Mm-hmm. Dogs need to be walked.
I have a stroller, guys. I hate to say it.
So does Judy. And Judy walk.
And Puppy's doing good now.
Oh, well, that's good.
I wanted to let you know that, too. The training and the thyroid thing, and he's losing weight, so we're getting him to walk more, and now he's doing great.
Oh, good job, Violet.
The owner called me yesterday and said,
oh, that's good.
Can I have a cheeseburger for him? I said, can you have a cheeseburger? That's
I love him. Violet's got these people wound up around her finger. She's in charge.
I hung up. I said, you call me back and you tell me what that cheeseburger's going to do.
That's right. Good for you, Violet.
You go, girl. Hey, thanks for your...
Okay, so I'll just give him his regular. I said, you better.
Hey, Violet, we enjoy hearing from you. Thank you for calling. Please stay in touch. Now, Judy, of course, walks her dog around the block in a little pink stroller, I believe is what it is. People always turn their head.
No, only when it rains or something, she walks.
I have a blue one, but my dog walks. But we had an incident a couple of years ago. My oldest one, Miles, and Miles is 12 now. And we went to a car show, and you go up and down. It was like a big parking lot event. And after going down 3 aisles, the dog just flat out just laid down and wouldn't move anymore. Refused to. No matter what, just said, that's it. I'm not going. So I had to carry the dog. And you know what it's like when it's a little bit warm out, and even though it's a small dog, you got to now carry the dog the rest of the way. So that's when we said, that's it. I'm getting a stroller. But here's the funny thing. Now that they got the stroller, the dog doesn't want to stay in the stroller. You know, the dog wants to keep getting out. So,
Joey,
but that dog is going to stay in that stroller. I break all your rules, don't I?
You bet. You sure do. I was going to say what Joey's not telling you is he laid down during the second aisle. The dog laid down.
The dog carried me. Well, that's why the dog was tired, because I rode the dog down the first 2 aisles, is what I didn't tell you.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too. Thinking of flying to Florida with Fido? Lisa Weisberg from the ASPCA says the safest place for your pet is under your seat in the main cabin. Be sure your pet is properly identified with your contact information. A checkup with the vet is always a good idea. Some short-nosed breeds like pugs and bulldogs have trouble getting enough air in flight. Contact your travel agent to find out what animal health documents might be required where you're going. You'll also want to get your pet familiar with the carrying case by letting them spend some relaxing, non-flying time in there. For more information, you and Fido can log on to www.aspca.org/travel tips. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, it's Lisa Laporta from HGTV's Design to Sell for Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your pet.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.
Hello, this is Jane Goodall on Animal Radio, and I just like everybody to realize that each day you live, you make some difference on the planet, and you can choose what kind of difference you're going to make. And hopefully every day you'll try to make the world a little bit better for people, for animals, and for the environment.
Well, this portion of Animal Radio is underwritten by Fear-Free Happy Homes. Don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes. Helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com. And thanks, Fear-Free, for underwriting Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Let's head to the phones. We have Charlie on the phone. Hey, Charlie, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
What's going on in your world? What can we help you with?
Oh, I had a chihuahua. I had her for over 5 years, and she's very mounted, but she do everything I tell her. But we hustle every morning, and like She thinks she can play with everybody. I don't like her for playing with everybody, you know, 'cause they stole her once. And I be wanting her to warn me if somebody walk up on me while I'm hurting. But everybody walk up, she thinks she's supposed to play with them. Every dog she thinks she's supposed to play with them because she's too friendly. I wonder what can I do to stop her from that? 'Cause I can't watch her myself 'cause I stay by myself.
She's too friendly? Your dog is too friendly?
Yeah, she like to play with every dog, the poor dog, and they be aggressive. Sometimes the guy be walking with two, and he can hardly hold them. I know they'd kill her because she's too small.
Right,
she want to play, and they be trying to fight.
Well, it actually looks like she wants to play, but what she's probably doing is instigating those two dogs to get them all riled up and even more crazy.
Them big dogs don't like them little dogs anyway.
Well, you know,
they be wanting to play, but they be ready to kill.
You're so funny, buddy. What I would do is turn the opposite direction and start walking away, you know. But as with all dogs and all dog training, the key is you. You know, the key to getting your dog to behave the way you want your dog to behave is you being a great teacher. And the way to teach your dog is not with words. You've got to use corrections and you've got to use rewards. And that's the only way to do it. There is no quick fix. So if you don't like your dog, walking up and instigating bigger dogs, if your dog is on a leash, you just got to turn real swiftly the opposite direction and start walking and give her a correction, a jolt, and go, you know, and just walk the opposite direction.
Well, but she just think everything she's supposed to play with.
Well, you're gonna have to correct her when she does behaviors you don't like, and you're gonna have to reward her when she does behaviors you do like, and that's the only way to do it. So every time your dog does something you don't like, you have to give her a little correction, like a little jolt at the leash, and say, or make a sound, whatever that is.
I missed, what kind of breed of dog did he say?
She's a Chihuahua. She's a Chihuahua.
Really, she's a miniature Doberman. I just call her Chihuahua because she's little. She's a miniature Doberman.
I'm happy to see those kind of dogs that are really friendly and happy and good with people. I think that's a great trait to have because that breed, I think, has a tendency to not be always so nice with strangers. So in my world, I'd be thrilled with that, and I'd welcome your puppy in my office.
I am. I just don't like her to be playing with everybody.
Well, again, buddy, you have got to change the behavior. Nobody can do it for you. And you've got to come up with a way to translate to your dog.
Some advice, that's all. She listens to everything what I say, but I just wonder what could I do.
All right, here's what you can do. Is your dog on a leash? You have her on a leash all the time?
Yeah, I keep a leash with me all the time.
All right. So your dog is on the leash, and you're walking down the street, and there's two dogs acting. Right? And you got to hold the leash. Don't hook it to your pants. You got to hold it, okay? And you've got to have a little choker chain on her, just a little choker chain on her. And when you're walking down the street and there's two dogs acting like lunatics and your dog starts to act like a lunatic, you give her a little jolt with your wrists. Turn and walk the opposite direction very quickly. And that's what you do. That's a correction. And you do it every time she does a behavior you don't like. And when she starts behaving the way you do want her to behave, which is calm, you say, "Good dog," and you give her a treat.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. There you go, buddy.
I mean, you learn a whole lot when you get old.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I say, they don't care how old you learn a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, dogs are dogs and people are people, and the best thing we can do is learn how to think like a dog. And when you learn to think like a dog, everything goes wonderfully because they can't read our minds. They don't know what the word no means. They don't know what the sentences we're speaking are. So the less amount of talk you do, the better. You know, and try to watch your dog and figure out what your dog is thinking. There's so many signs.
Yeah, trust me, I know that, boy.
So when you see her getting into that manic state, correct her, refocus her mind.
Okay. But she's very mindable. I tell her to sit, lay down, stay there until I get back, or whatever. She'll be there until I get back. If nobody walked up and took her. They stole her one time and Sheriff got her back from me. That was why I was talking about being friendly. See, I stay by myself. I can't pay attention to her and me and myself and her at the same time.
That's you're doing good, buddy. It's just that one thing. You just got to teach her to just to not get riled up around riled up dogs, and that's not too difficult. It just takes persistence and it takes time.
Hey, thanks for your call, Charlie. Good luck with that. Let us know how that works out. Not a lot of people know that. That was the #1 disc jockey in Los Angeles doing morning drive, calling from the bowling alley.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Paul Rogers.
And Cynthia Rogers.
On Animal Radio.
Just know that it's going to be all right, meow.
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process, cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. Workers in the Great Ape House at the Smithsonian's National Zoo, they found a new socially engaging outlet for their 6 orangutans. You won't believe this, but they're using an iPad. Animal keeper Becky Malinsky says the idea comes from a nonprofit called Apps for Apes, which uses the program in 13 other zoos worldwide.
One of the purposes of us using these or allowing the orangs to use these iPads is for enrichment, for mental and physical stimulation. These animals are extraordinarily intelligent, so keeping them mentally stimulated is really important.
Malinsky says the National Zoo started last year with a donated iPad, and their orangutan's repertoire has now grown to more than 10 apps, including musical instruments and cognitive games. She says the program is also important for nurturing conservation because it lets visitors make a connection in seeing the apes use the same technology that we use every day. I don't have an iPad yet, okay? Just so you know. All right, he's back. Some people living on the Umatilla Indian Reservation in Oregon are pretty sure that they've been listening to Bigfoot for the past month or so. An employee at the Tribal Housing Authority told the Oregonian that they started getting reports about loud cries coming from a swamp on the reservation back in December. Some are attributing the spooky noises to the legendary ape-like humanoid, who is part of the locals' tribal traditions and spiritual beliefs. But wildlife program manager Carl Shearler says it's more likely that the source is a slightly more common animal, like a fox or a cougar. He explains that mixed with the echoing nature of the swamp and surrounding canyons, cougars' breeding calls can be absolutely hair-raising. Well, what was supposed to be a chicken adoption turned into a chicken robbery in Colorado. According to the Denver Post, Grant Family Farms hosted this 3-day Hen Again adoption drive to help save a bankrupt farm and the lives of thousands of chickens. However, a local newspaper printed the wrong address in an advertisement for the event. Well, that caused a number of people to show up at the wrong end of the farm. The lost adopters started taking chickens without realizing the mistake. And Hen Again head Teresa Redmond Ott said that carloads of people left with fowl that weren't up for adoption. She's crying foul about that, right? Bada bing, bada boom. I'll be in the Catskills next week. Redmond Ott says that they use social media to tell people about the mix-up, and she's pretty sure that people will return the chickens that were supposed to leave. I'm Stacy Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
It's Animal Radio. Alan, tell the listeners the story you were just telling me during the commercial.
I was in the park for soccer. My dog's just sitting there, behaving himself. And this guy says, "Can I pet your dog?" Comes up, and I go, "Sure." And right away he starts going, "Oh, what a good little dog. It's so cute." You know, just acting like an idiot. And, of course, my dog's getting juiced on that energy and wants to climb all over him. And I'm going, "Hey, Rudy, sit down." And so he does. And I go, "Dude, you can't pet a dog like that, okay? You just can't." He goes, the irony, he goes, "I came over because your dog was so calm and well-behaved." And I go, "Yeah, there's a reason for that." And he goes, "Well, you know, I don't believe in having dogs on leashes. I got 3 labs. They're not on leashes." And I go, "Well, where are they?" He goes, "Well, they're home." I go, "Well, do you bring them places?" He goes, "No, I can't bring them anywhere. They're out of control. They jump on people. They might knock an old lady or a kid down." And I go, "Well, are you hearing what you're saying? Are you listening to your own words?" I'm telling you, man, it's really frustrating to deal with people. They're stupid.
The trainers have the same problems that the groomers have.
It's worse. I was training this with one dog for a friend, a German Shepherd mix, and I had the prong collar on him. And this lady comes over to me, and she goes, "What is that, a macho thing?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "That's so cruel. That collar is so cruel." And I go, "Oh, really?" I go, and I take it off. I put it on myself. And I say, "Here, pull it. Doesn't hurt me, and I don't have any fur." She goes, "I don't care. That's still mean." Same thing. I go, "Do you have a dog?" She says, "Yes." I go, "Where's your dog?" "Oh, at home. I don't bring him anywhere. He's out of control."
It is just a couple of days away from Westminster. In fact, Monday and Tuesday, Westminster goes down in New York. Every year we talk to Jerry Grymeck. We'll talk to him in just a few minutes. But there is a brand new book out. The book is called Dog Show Confidential, Sneaking in the Back Door of Westminster, and the author, Connie Newcomb, is our guest. Hi, Connie. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Well, first of all, tell us about your dog. What kind of dog do you have?
The one that I'm showing this year?
You're selling the dog.
Showing.
Oh,
Showing.
Okay. Yes, the one that you're showing.
I have a smooth coat Chihuahua named Bill, and he is a champion, and he will be the dog I'm taking to Westminster.
How much does he weigh?
He weighs 5 pounds.
Is this your first year showing, or how many years have you shown?
This will be my 3rd year showing a dog.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit of how you got into it and what's so alarming about what's going on in Westminster and all these dog shows. All the gossip, the good stuff, the juicy stuff.
The stuff we want to hear.
Well, I got started 4 or 5 years ago now, and I had a friend who asked me to help her out by showing one of her little Chihuahuas, and I knew absolutely nothing. And the dog was pretty much as crazy as a little dog could be. She was very difficult to show. She wouldn't cooperate, but I fell in love with her, and I did manage to make her a champion. And then I just kind of got addicted to it. And I got another Chihuahua, and I showed him at Westminster, and I've managed to finish 4 champions and 1 grand champion, and Bill is only a few points away from being a grand champion. So it's pretty exciting.
What kind of backstabbing's going on? You see, I want the good stuff. I want to know what's going on behind the scenes. Because, I mean, the book is called Dog Show Confidential, right?
Yeah. It looks so smooth on TV when you see it, but people cheat and do little...
It is very political. I mean, the professional handlers always have the advantage.
You can buy the judges?
Yeah, because everybody knows everybody. It's a surprisingly small community. And, there are a few handlers I try to steer clear of. You know, the kind that want to get in your way and scare your dog a little bit, throw bait around the ring. I mean, it happens.
What do they do?
We want names. We want names, girl. Names.
Well, I know. See, I have to live in this world, so I can't give out names.
But you wrote a book about it.
But you don't list names?
I was nice, though. Okay. It's a nice book. I didn't say anything too mean.
We heard that Lady Gaga smuggled herself in last year in a pregnant St. Bernard. Is that true?
No, I didn't hear that one, but that sounds pretty good.
You know who's in there doesn't Patty Hearst, the infamous Patty Hearst, doesn't she show a dog?
Yes. I've been at shows many times with Patty. The first time, because the friend of mine also that brought me into dog shows, she has French bulldogs, and Patty Hearst has French bulldogs. So I went to a show. This was several years ago, and I'm helping her with her French bulldogs, and I'm looking at this woman, and I'm thinking, she looks familiar. And I thought, oh, my God, it's Patty Hearst. There she is with her French bulldogs. And she was, very casual, jeans, hooded sweatshirt, no makeup. And she's beautiful in person. She really is. And she's very nice. She's a very nice, friendly lady. And she's at all the dog shows. She usually shows up with her bodyguard, though.
Oh, really?
Wow. Have you ever seen Good. I'm sorry, Jude.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, have you ever seen any incidents backstage where like people go at it against each other? I mean, they just get riled up and they're mad and they're throwing things at each other and screaming at each other, stuff like that?
There's some screaming. Certain people don't get along and you just steer clear. But, you know, everybody, it's a very competitive sport. I mean, it really is. People want to win. But a lot of these handlers, boy, they want to win, and you got to love it.
I've prepared some show dogs in the grooming world because the worlds do collide. And I've seen a lot. I mean, the dog show world, I've seen it get vicious at times. But it's funny because when they know the judges, some of these handlers know the judges that are out there. And I'm going to give you a good little story. There was this one gentleman who was a womanizer. So one of the women that were in the ring, she wore a very, very low cut top, and it was so low he was trying to look down her top so hard that he fell over, and it was so obvious. It was so obvious. It was unbelievable. And also a handler that I know very well. He's out in the Netherlands and he handles terriers, and he went to a show in Italy. And the Italians are very, very political in the dog show world. Usually no one wins unless you are Italian. And they put him up best in show with his I think he had a smooth foxtail terrier, and the army had to escort him out of the country because they wanted to kill him, and that's a true story.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It can get pretty ugly. I mean, there's a lot of very strong personalities going on.
Well, the book is called Dog Show Confidential, Sneaking in the Back Door of Westminster. Our guest, Connie Newcomb, is the author, and I have 9 copies to give away right now. If you're not lucky enough to get through, head on over to your bookstore or order it on Amazon.com. Connie, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And good luck with Bill.
Oh, thank you very much.
We'll be watching and rooting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
There you go.
Joey, you gave us better dirt than she did.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Look,
you had a better
no,
story.
Let me tell you, I have some great dirt. The dog show world, the grooming world, the people are just nuts. The dog show world is vicious. I mean, there's some things that you would laugh, and there's a lot of things that you hear that are just despicable. Like a Newfie had his leg sticking out of one of the crates, and one of the other Newfie handlers broke the dog's leg so he couldn't compete.
You are kidding me.
Some people will not go in the ring because they know that there's no chance, no matter how good their dog is, that judge is putting up their dog because their friends and cronies are in the ring that they do business with. It's very, very political.
I just wish there was something that existed in this world that people didn't corrupt. You know, just obey the rules and the best man win. That's what I'd like to see.
The mafia.
I can't think of anything.
They got a code of rules, and you know what? You don't break them.
God bless that mafia.
Yeah,
That's
thank
right.
goodness they're there for a beacon of hope for us all.
Yes.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
This is
Animal Radio, baby. You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
The news right around the corner. What do you got going on, Stacy?
Well, I don't know how much dog licenses are where you live, but I know where I live, they're like $20. And if your dog isn't neutered, then it's $40. What would you think of $700 to register your dog?
Wow.
Well, there's a New Jersey city that's thinking about it. I'll tell you more coming up on Animal Radio News.
And I believe we are going to go to line 3. Am I correct? They're all blinking.
Line 3.
Teeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's go to James. Hey, James, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you guys doing?
Very good. Where are you calling from today?
Lodgepole, Nebraska.
Oh, wow. Do you live there?
Yes, actually, I'm a wheat farmer here.
A wheat farmer? So, wow.
Yeah, wheat farmer. I've got a huge wheat and corn farm out here. So, but the question I was calling you guys about is I just actually saved 2 sugar gliders, or got 2 sugar gliders from a rescue.
What's a sugar glider? Sugar glider? What is that? I don't know.
It's a little marsupial. They're like about the size of the palm of your hand, a little marsupial, and big eyes. Very interesting little characters.
They sound cute.
Yeah, they're really, really interesting and a lot of fun, actually. And the last family really, I don't believe, was giving them the attention they needed and the love and everything they needed. But the question I have for you guys is that, should I get these 2 boys neutered? I've done some research online, and it's kind of a yes and no. If I do, is it bad for them? I mean, or is it good for them? And also about when should I do it? They're still in the stage not really knowing me too well, and we're still bonding. What's your thoughts?
Well, for sugar gliders, I definitely recommend to neuter the boys. We don't do the girls, but we can, but we generally do the boys. And as long as they have their goods in place, we can do it. So most of these guys, once they come for their first pet exams, we can talk about doing that. The reason that it's actually quite easy to neuter sugar gliders is that they're testicles basically are on a little stalk, and so they kind of hang away from the body. So it makes it very easy to access the area. And here at my office, what we generally do is we do this with laser surgery, so it helps to minimize bleeding. The biggest, and I'd say the one thing we really watch after neutering these little guys is that they tend to chew themselves. So we're really aggressive about making sure we use pain medication, and even just kind of putting like a Novocaine block at the area where we do the surgery. That's probably the biggest downside to things. But I wouldn't say that. I think it will definitely help make them more apt to be affectionate, and kind of takes down a little bit of that aggression that we can get with them. So for making them better pets, I say absolutely. If you need to give them a little bit more time to bond to you, I think that's great. But I don't see a reason that you'd have to wait, because it definitely helps them in the long run.
And just out of curiosity, what is the normal cost of neutering these animals? Is it really expensive or fairly cheap?
It is going to depend a bit on what kind of veterinary availability you have in your area. And I'd have to tell you that sugar gliders are certainly a little bit more of truly what we'd call the exotic breeds. So, for some folks, they may not feel comfortable handling them, or they may just not have the equipment to deal with them. And certainly, like I mentioned, here at my office, we have laser surgery, which is really neat for some of these little guys. So you're going to potentially run into a little bit more of a cost factor with that. And I would have to say that here at our office, I think neutering these guys is maybe just a hair over $100. But in some facilities, it could actually be as much as a couple hundred, just because of, not having a lot of other competition in the area for them. But we see so many of these critters that, it's not necessarily a big deal for us.
Well, thank you so much. I just want them to be happy. So that's about it.
Yeah.
Well,
and you know what?
So much for your information. It really helped out.
Sure, I'm glad. And, I wanted to mention that sugar gliders are definitely an animal that you got to have a lot of time for them. So it's unfortunate if the other family didn't spend a lot of time, because I've had some of these little guys where they will actually just kind of shut down. If they're not getting love, affection, they won't eat. So, thank you so much for, taking them on. And they're curious little creatures, a lot of fun. Thank you so much for your call, James.
I appreciate your call.
They're with me right now. They ride with me all day in the tractor.
They drive in the tractor with you. Wow.
That's great.
Yeah, the tractor drives itself, so I just sit here and look at them in their little pouch thing, and they chill out and look around all the big windows and stuff. Occasionally they
wow.
Fly around on things. Well, have a good day.
Thank you for your call today. So, Dr. Debbie, are these animals that need to be kept inside? Do you keep them in a cage? How much room do they need? I'm trying to get an idea.
Yeah, they definitely need a cage, and they're climbers, so they definitely need big, wide cages. Got to have a lot of hiding places for them, and they eat a various diet. So they'll eat fruits, vegetables. They need a lot of protein in their diet, so they'll eat little bugs, boiled eggs, things like that. But they do take a lot of attention, and sometimes people get them for when they have kids, and it's not always the best thing if the kids aren't comfortable handling them. They do some really interesting little sounds. It's something called crabbing, so it kind of goes and so when they're unhappy, they make this sound. A lot of people do ooh. So it just takes with kids for them to get used to them and not freak out. I still kind of freak out sometimes when they do that because it catches you off guard with this little alien sound that they make.
They sound absolutely adorable. We'll put a picture up over at the website at animalradio.com. First sugar glider call here at Animal Radio. You can call us with your flamingo questions, your iguana questions, whatever. We have the bases covered, of course. Dr. Debbie practices in Las Vegas, so there's a lot of weird animals out there. You know that. And,
yeah, you know me. We've had raccoons and potbelly pigs in today.
Wow. Quite a practice. And, of course, you probably had to get some extra schooling for that, didn't you?
To some degree, yeah. But a lot of it is kind of where you end up. And in Las Vegas, of course, we see a lot of interesting and different animals. So it's kind of where most of my learning has occurred.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
If you're between the ages of 55 and 63, disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. The average is about $1,300 a month. It's a benefit you are entitled to from working. Use it to pay your normal living expenses. This free call only takes 10 minutes, and it could provide you the necessary financial relief you need. Plus, our services cost you nothing until you receive your benefit check. Save yourself time and aggravation. We know how to get the job done for you as quickly as possible. So if you are physically or mentally disabled and can't return to work, and you're between the ages of 55 and 63, learn if you qualify for your $1,300 a month check. Make this free call right now to the Social Security Disability Helpline.
800-380-4429. 800-380-4429. 800-380-4429. That's 800-380-4429.
Celebrating our connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio. Here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
And this hour, we'll be talking to Jerry Grymeck, doggy concierge at the Hotel Penn, as we kick off Westminster. That is tomorrow and Tuesday. Of course, all those dogs there at Westminster all have these special requests, like special foods that they want, and that's his job, to get them all. I mentioned earlier that many animals, an disproportionate amount of animals, cats and dogs, get cancer.
As we get into older pets, it is probably the number one condition that we do diagnose, from everything from skin tumors as cancers to, more serious internal cancer. So pets are living longer lives, and we are diagnosing it more often, so all too often.
It's no longer a death.
Death sentence?
Death sentence?
No.
Normally when I think of cancer, I think of dollar signs and death.
Oh.
You know who we have on the phone is Dr. Gerald Post, and he is the founder of the Animal Cancer Foundation. He's a veterinary oncologist. Welcome to the show, Doc.
Thank you so much.
This is somewhat of a somber subject, but since a lot of us, most of us, will eventually have to deal with this with our animals, I wanted to at least cover it. Is it treatable? Is cancer treatable in dogs and cats, first off?
Absolutely, and I would dare say that it is one of the most common diseases that we see in animals, especially as animals are aging. But it is also one of the most treatable. It may not be curable in many cases, but it is incredibly treatable.
I assume chemotherapy, like we use on humans, radiation therapy, is a common treatment for this?
It absolutely is. And one of the most common misconceptions that we deal with is that chemotherapy and radiation therapy, when I say those words to my clients, they think immediately of what happens to people. And that's really just not the case. We as veterinary oncologists and pet owners have made a very conscious choice not to put our pets through what people go through. And so the dosages and the dose frequency of both chemo and radiation therapy are developed so that the pets can handle those therapies incredibly well, because quantity and quality of life are so important to us.
I don't understand. When humans go through it, they lose their hair. How come an animal doesn't lose all their fur?
Some have more hair loss than others, and people have hair. Most dogs have fur. Now, there are some dogs that have hair that do tend to lose a bit more hair or fur than others, but for the most part, both the dose as well as the method of hair growth or fur growth makes their hair loss less of a problem. Now, you're not seeing me. If you were to look at my picture, I have a little bit of hair loss or a lot of hair loss on top, so I don't view that as a major problem.
Yeah. Is it expensive? I know with human chemotherapy and radiation treatment, a little pricey.
Well, so, I would have to say that that's the second most common misconception that we talk about in my practice, and that is expense. And cancer therapy absolutely can be expensive. There are bone marrow transplants that can be, $20,000, $30,000 for the procedure. But because of the advent of oral chemotherapy and other types of what are called anti-angiogenic or metronomic therapies, chemotherapy or therapy in general doesn't have to be incredibly expensive. So at our practice, the Veterinary Cancer Center in Norwalk, we want to make sure that every pet that we see and every owner understands that we want to make sure that their pet gets the best therapy that they can afford. And that affordability may be about money, it may be about time. And so now, I guess more than ever before in the 25 years that I've been in practice, we can devise programs and protocols that fit almost everybody's budget or constraints.
Now, Doc, I have a lot of clients in my office that will come in and say, oh, he's got this lump, but it's not cancer because it doesn't hurt him. What kind of things can you offer, to educate pet owners about what to watch for cancer detection and when to be concerned?
Sure. And so I actually wrote an article called The 10 Warning Signs of Cancer. And one of the things, and you can find that actually on our website, which is www.acfoundation.org or www.vcchope.com. And especially when you're talking about skin lesions, anything that is changing in size, shape, or color should be evaluated. And the most sure way to know whether something is benign or not is the first thing to do is to take a small aspirate, so a small needle into the lump, take it and put it on a slide and look at it underneath a microscope to see whether it warrants removal or biopsy.
Let's talk about prevention. I mean, you must have some theories because 70% is a huge percentage. How do we compare with other countries, and what are things that people can maybe do to focus on prevention of cancer in the first place?
We know very, very little about cancer prevention, even in people. But what we do know from people that can be applied to animals is a good balanced diet, good weight, not as good activity level, and I would say good physical exams and checkups to, if there is something developing, finding it early. But as far as cancer prevention or what we can do, so much of cancer relates to genetic risk factors. So in other words, all of us, dog, cat, person, are born with a certain level of cancer risk. And it varies from person to person, from dog to dog. And as we know more about the genome of both dogs, cats, and people, that question will hopefully have a very different answer in a number of years. Keeping your dog fit, feeding them a good and healthy diet, and frequent checkups with your local veterinarian, those are the three things that I stress to my clients as far as what they can do to try and either prevent cancer or detect it at a very early stage.
And I also would interject there is because, having that dialogue with your vet, when you have those checkups, a lot of breeds are prone to certain types of cancer. So, ask your vet, hey, my dog is a golden retriever. What kind of things do I need to be worried about? What kind of conditions do I need to worry, whether it's cancer or otherwise? Those are great things to ask your vet.
Absolutely agree. And, one of the things that our practice gives out to the local practitioners is in our area in Connecticut is the breed-associated cancer. So we have a laminated placard that we give to all of the local veterinary practices in the area with all of the breeds and what cancers are common in those breeds, and therefore what tests specifically. And it's incredibly helpful. And you're absolutely right. Those discussions specifically should be happening with the local veterinarian.
How do we compare with other countries around the world? What country has the lowest cancer rate in dogs?
That is a really good question. And epidemiologically, we have so little data. And because the United States treats their animals and their pets so much as part of the family, I don't know that it's fair that we can even compare our cancer statistics in animals to other countries, because we do so much more as far as diagnostics and therapeutics for cancer in animals that I think if you look at the numbers, we see so much more cancer in animals, but I don't know that that's not because we treat our animals like members of the family.
We thank you for your time today. There's so many questions. We're going to have you on again, but people can learn more at www.vcchope.com. And, of course, links to everything you've heard on today's show over at Animal Radio. Dr. Gerald Post, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. And, I guess the one thing I'd like to leave everybody with is that the most powerful weapon people have is information, and that there is not always, but in most cases, hope for the treatment of cancer in their pets.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
Oh, what a beautiful ring! Is it a diamond? A sapphire? A cat? Pet owners are getting creative with pet cremation. While most owners go for the traditional grave in the backyard or a cremation urn, some owners are having their pets made into jewelry. Paperweights, crystals, and jewelry have all been created by Life Gem, a company which can turn a doggy into a diamond for about $2,000 to $25,000. There's also Floramorial, a company which makes soil that converts cremated ash into a planting medium to grow a memorial flower. Other owners opt to keep their pets' ashes in a thumb-sized urn so they can take it with them wherever they go. You can even get a huggable plush toy filled with your pet's ashes. It's all just a way of showing that dog is man's best friend, or maybe diamonds are a girl's best friend, or maybe a little of both. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Did you get this guy for this weekend with the New Zealand guy? No, he's going to be next weekend?
Yeah, he's the guy that wants to get rid of the cats, all the cats permanently in New Zealand. So
Gareth Morgan.
Next weekend.
He wants a New Zealand free of cats that threaten the native birds. And he set up a website called Cats to Go, which has a little picture of a cat on the front, or a kitten with red devil horns. He doesn't want people to euthanize their pets. He just wants them to get rid of them or not get them at all. Apparently, New Zealand...
So does he want to go extinct?
No, yeah. Well, what he wants to do is if you just keep your pet cat, and then when he dies, don't get any more cats.
Yeah.
Just let them all die out, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, New Zealand boasts the highest cat ownership rates in the world, so he has quite a journey ahead of him, and I guess he'll be on next week's show right here on Animal Radio.
You better be careful.
They may eradicate him.
Yeah, that would be a better idea.
Well, I understand that there is a lot of controversy about it, and we'll find out all the details next week right here on Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
This is Jane Lynch on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your animal. Spay or neuter. Let me say that again. You don't want to do both. Spay or neuter. Let me say it again. Can I do that?
You can do whatever you want.
Oh, God bless. I'm going to try it one more time. Hi, this is Jane Lynch on Animal Radio. Please spay or neuter your animal. I love it.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-705-1198. 800-705-1198. 800-705-1198. That's 800-705-1198.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Let's go to line. Have we even given line 6 any attention today whatsoever?
I didn't know we had a line 6.
Oh.
That's why.
Hey, Dana, are you there?
Yes.
We had no idea this line existed and that you were here. How can we help you?
Well, we have a probably 8 or 9 years old now, a big black shelter rescue cat. And I think he was abused as an infant and probably abandoned for a while. The shelter couldn't get rid of him for the longest time until we took him in under our wing. He used to bite, but we broke him of that. He's been getting along fine with our other, rescue cats for the longest time. We've had 2 or 3 that have come and gone. But just recently, my daughter had to bring her cat here to live. And when he first came here 6 months ago, he was just full of all kind of vim and vigor, and he was running all around and playing and having a ball. And the black cat was tolerating him, and he wasn't happy, but he was tolerating him. Now he just abuses him terrible, chases him, he hides all day long. He doesn't dare come out. Mm-hmm. And we don't know what to do with the black cat.
Okay. So I have a couple quick questions for you because there's a lot that goes into kitty dynamics when we're talking behavior. So you said both of these guys are male and they're both neutered, correct?
Both neutered, yes.
Okay. Now, are there other cats or dogs in the home?
Yes, there's one other cat. Her name is Shadow. She's another rescue cat. She came just a little bit before Bear. She's female. And, neutered also, and she doesn't care one way or the other about anything. Cats can come and cats can go, and people can visit, and she's just here.
Okay, so wait a minute. I need to know a little bit more. When the younger kitten, when that one before an attack happens, what is that cat doing?
Hiding.
What hiding? Okay, and then
black cat will hunt him down, and then the kitten gets scared and he runs to go upstairs and hide, and the black cat attacks him and chases him and beats him up.
Okay, and an attack is basically him chasing him. Is there any actually injuries, any bites that have occurred as a result of this, or it's more the chase that's happening?
I haven't noticed any bites. Have you, Mary?
No.
No, okay. I guess it's just chasing and scratching and pulling a little hair here and there.
Okay, so the challenge is that with kitties, there's a lot of different reasons why we will have inter-cat aggression issues. And with you, I think we've got a lot more to get into that I might not be able to delve into every aspect of, but in general, when we talk about cats in the house that aren't getting along, they can have fights over territory. It might be because of a social hierarchy. It actually can even be just practicing play behaviors and predatory behaviors. And sometimes it's out of fear. So in this situation, at least to simplify things, there's a couple steps that I would definitely do for you. The first thing is on the aggressor kitty, we need to give the little guy a forewarning. So I usually recommend putting a bell collar on the aggressor cat, and that at least gives the other guy a little bit of warning here. Some other ways that you can get the older guy more adjusted to accepting the young guy would be to share litter boxes or resources, or even sometimes I'll just take towels and rub the cat's scent and then take the other cat and rub that other cat's scent on it. And it's a way to try to help them kind of become more tolerant of at least the sense of smell of that other kitty in the area. But with these kind of dynamics, there's a lot of things that we're going to have to look at in the environment. And for a 3-cat household, we need to be making sure you've got ample resources. So
4 litter boxes And they all use each other's. If you watch them, they've been doing that for the whole 6 months. And
Good. And it's even more than the litter boxes. So a resource for a cat can be a food water bowl. It could be a perching spot. It can be a human. So for some cats, especially those that are really kind of just intimidated by a bully cat, they may be afraid to even seek out those resources. Even if you're not seeing attacks occurring, there's nonverbal communication that these kitties are having. And sometimes it can even be the fearful kitty, just their bodily motions. So the ears going back, they're crouching down, they're looking fearful, and that can actually even trigger an attack. They're acting scared. You wouldn't think that would cause a problem, but it actually can. So a cat that is more dominant may actually pounce on that. So for my recommendation, I'm going to suggest to keep these guys separated unless we can really supervise them. Work on adding these resources, put that cat bell on, and then you may need to talk to your veterinarian about potentially medicating the adult cat. The first thing I would do is certainly do a good thorough exam. Make sure there's anything physically wrong that might be making him more cranky about the youngster. But sometimes the aggressor will medicate them with a type of an antidepressant, behavior modifying drug, and that can help to kind of decrease some of their tendency to attack. So that might be helpful as well. And then really, really, really making sure that we're also being aware of the other cat. So even though your third cat's not in on the mix of things, there's the more personalities in the household you add with cats, the more chance we're going to run into these problems. So also be wary of that kitty and make sure that she's doing okay.
She can lay down and sleep next to either one of them, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing about her. She's just as docile and quiet and.
But we always got to remember, as cats are individuals, and I always go back to my old college roommates, and some of us got along really super well, and some of us didn't, or maybe there was one that just kind of irked everybody. So cats have to go through these same kind of personality situations, and they have to deal with that. So some are more prone to being protective or territorial of areas, and others could care less and share the house and all the goods. So that's where I think we're definitely going to need to work on your adult cat. And the other thing is making sure we're scheduling your adult male with a little bit of extra playtime. And just like Alan always talks about getting dogs out and exercising them if we're having behavioral problems, same thing for this cat. So we might get him out and play with the fishing pole toys, get some of the interactive Frolic cat toys going, something to expend energy and those predatory responses that maybe he's directing at the other cat, and we can give him an outlet to kind of burn up some of that energy and that drive.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. That's 800-880-3141.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacey Cohen for Animal Radio. Well, police dogs in Germany are soon going to be sporting some fancy footwear. Orange News reports the canine crime fighters are being issued special boots that are lined with a layer of stab-proof material that attach with Velcro. The new shoes are designed to protect the dog's feet from broken glass and sharp objects at riots, crime scenes, and other potentially dangerous situations. A German Shepherd named Rico led a trial of 12 dogs that showed how beneficial the boots could be. But even though the shoes were for the dog's own good, head handler Thomas Schulte admits the animals weren't immediately appreciative. He said the dogs would just pull them off with their teeth at first, but eventually they adapted after a couple of weeks. Well, I know have you ever put those little booties on your dogs? I don't know. If you go hiking or sometimes something like that, you can buy these little boots, hiking boots for dogs. I know my dogs have pulled them off. They're just average dogs, so they're okay. They can live without the boots. They don't need combat boots. Not my dogs. They're tough. Dog licenses for some animals may jump up to $700 in New Jersey if the village council in Ridgewood has its way. Glenn Schuck reports.
With some of the highest property taxes in the state, many Ridgewood residents already feel they're taking it pretty hard in the wallet. Now they better hope their dog behaves. If the village has its way, licenses for so-called dangerous dogs will go up to $700. Angela's saying, give us a break.
Can't have tree houses, you can't have pets, what can't you have next? I don't know. Who's to say the dog is dangerous? You could have a mutt that somebody antagonizes and the dog goes after you. You could have a dog that's well taken care of, well fed, well trained, well everything, and you're going to say it's $700?
This issue will be taken up by Village Council here at their meeting on February the 13th. Glenn Schuck in Ridgewood, New Jersey.
Your dog or cat's poop is kind of a Google on your pet's health. Pay attention to it. There are many details about poop that you should know. Picking up isn't only the neighborly thing to do, it's for the best interests of all pets in your community. It's true, there's some potential health issues to people, according to a veterinary parasitologist, Dr. Dwight Bowman, including roundworm, salmonella, roundworm, and whipworm that can be spread to other dogs, even the parvovirus to those who aren't vaccinated. Also, one now retired Chicago alderman famously said dog poop is like caviar for rats. Well, it's not exactly true that rats don't relish dog poop, but like most things, they will cheerily eat the poo if they're hungry enough. So leaving it out may mean that another dog will scarf up the poo. A community service? Well, not quite. Dogs that eat other dogs' stuff have a condition that's known as coprophagia. Next time that your pet poos, don't look away. Instead, pay attention and either pick it up outside or scoop the cat box inside. And you might want to get a clothespin, too. I'm Stacey Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
The haunting sounds of the violin players could only mean one thing. Dog father Joey Villani is here.
Hey.
What?
So anyway, what? I had a crazy woman. Well, it's not I shouldn't say crazy woman. I apologize. She contacted me on my personal Facebook page. And she doesn't listen to the show, but I'm hoping she does now, because I told her if she listened to the show, she would understand what I'm talking about here. And basically, it's more of an answer to a question than a tip. And the reason why I'm doing this is because there's a lot of people out there that I've heard this question from a million times. And basically, it goes like this. Every time they take their pet to a groomer, the groomer always says that the dog needs to be clipped down because he's too matted. And they feel that the groomer is saying that because the groomer doesn't want to put the time and effort into brushing the dog out.
Right.
Now, I Facebooked her back and I said, well, how many groomers have said this to you? And she said, this is the third groomer that has told me this in my area, and I don't know if it's groomers in my area. I mean, is there anything that I should ask them, tell them? And you know what? The bottom line is this. If 3 groomers are telling you this, then there's obviously... No, but you know what, Judy? You laugh, but you don't know how many times I hear this. And I'll hear this about myself as well from other groomers, the same thing. Now, I want to let everyone know something. Clipping a dog down that's matted is probably more difficult than brushing a dog out that has knots and tangles.
Really?
Okay. So when it gets to the point that we tell you that, you know what, we have to cut your dog down short, it's not because we want to, because most groomers hate it. I dread it. I can't stand it. It's boring work. Usually the dog cannot stand it because you got this big machine running down its legs, and especially if it's a small dog. Mm-hmm. And you know what, you got a machine that's bigger than maybe half the size of the dog, and you got to get every nook, inch, and cranny of that dog, depending upon how matted it is.
That's not easy.
So No, it's not. It's not at all. It's extremely difficult. So my answer to her and my answer to anyone who has this question is, now, don't get me wrong, there's some groomers out there that may not have, and I'm not going to say talent, because brushing and combing a pet is not talent. There's nothing that I do any differently than Hal can do, than Judy can do, that Joy, anyone in the studio here can do. It's time, patience, and knowing the right equipment. Now, the difference will be, after all the amount of years I've been doing it, is you know what? I know how much pressure to apply and how much pressure not to apply at times. But you know what? That's trial and error, and it's going to be the same thing with you. You're either going to start irritating, and once you start it, you're going to back off, or you're not. The other thing is you got to make sure you have the right tool. Now, this particular woman had the right tool. The problem was she needed to blow the dust off it, okay? It's not used. We don't have special chemicals. We don't have special products, and we have things that make it a little bit easier. But basically, it's the same stuff that you can go to your local pet supply house or shop, and you can get them, and which are detanglers. What you want to do is don't blame everything on your groomer. There is prep work that needs to be done for your pet. And remember, especially this time of the year, you know what? People in California don't realize how lucky they are, because you have a constant, or Southern California, you have a constant type of weather pattern here, which doesn't change all that much. But when you go in the rest of the country, and right now it's cold and it's snowing, so what happens is the pets go out, they get wet, they come back in and they dry, they get dirty, they go back out, they get more dirty, they get more wet, they come back, they dry, and that's going to build knots and tangles. If you don't help brush this out and comb this out, it's going to keep getting tighter, tighter, and tighter until it's so tight. And when a groomer tells you that we can't do it, this is the reason. It's so tight to the skin that we can't brush it anymore. We can't get it out. It's going to be painful for the pet, because now, in the process of trying to remove these knots and tangles, I'm scraping skin. So I'm just irritating. And you know what? I mean, if anyone's looked at a pet brush, I mean, for the most part, they're a lot harder and a lot more, they got a lot more, how could I say, substance to them than a human brush, okay? I mean, if you brush your hair with a slicker brush, okay, and you're going to find very quickly that if you don't apply the right pressure, that it's going to hurt. So now, when I have to get real close to the skin, it doesn't matter how much pressure I apply. It's scraping, it's irritating, it's tearing that skin up to the point where you'll get blood. You know what? And then you have a dog that's going to hate it, a dog that's irritated. In some cases, it irritates them so much that now they start scratching, and now you got to go to your veterinarian. Go ahead.
I was going to say, most people don't know that a mat is twisted. It's like twisting your hair and twisting it to so tight it pulls. They don't understand that it pulls the skin on the dog. It
That's
hurts.
exactly. I mean, we've had situations where we had to remove knots and tangles that was so tight that underneath it was open, raw, infected skin. And that's from the knots and tangles. Now, a smart aleck will say to me, okay, and I say smart aleck because you always have the person that wants to test you will sit back and say to me, well, you know, if the dog was in the wild, it would get knotted. The difference is this. They're not. They're domesticated. It's completely different. We built this type of coat for your dog. If dogs were just left wild, you wouldn't have the breeds. You would have coat that was conducive to be living outside. But because we've created breeds with certain types of coats that work in different climates and work for, you know, the working dog of man, the difference is now we have to put the effort in to actually do the work. So make sure you're doing your brushing, combing before you go to your groomer. You don't have to get it all out. But you know what? When your groomer tells you, multiple groomers tell you that your dog needs to be clipped down every single time, you know what? I would probably take their recommendations and sit back and say, what do I need to do so this doesn't happen again? And you know what? They don't want to do it. They're going to sit back, and a good groomer, they're going to tell you. They're going to give you the time, and they're going to tell you, because honestly, they know if I make you happy, Hal, as a client, you're coming back to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're going to tell all your friends.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like I said, it's not so much of a tip, but it's just a words of wisdom to the pet owners. Don't always, if you want to keep a nice looking dog, don't always expect that the groomer is going to be able to do that without prior work at home.
Sounds good. Good information from Joey Villani, and you can friend him on Facebook if you want to, but cut him a little bit of slack.
No, you know what? I'm going to tell you one thing. I never not accept someone that friends me, because if they friend me, they went out of their way to look for me to friend me. So I'll answer any question. I'd rather do it on the Animal Radio website. But you know what was good about this person? She didn't know about Animal Radio, and all my postings I put up there. So now she's listening, and I hope she's out there listening. Ira.
Very good. Ira? Very good. Thanks, Ira, for listening now, being a new listener.
I would love to go on vacation, but I don't want to leave our Charlie behind.
I agree. I heard that the magazine Fido Friendly lists places where you can stay with your pet. They also offer reviews so you have an idea about pet policy to include any restrictions, fees, and what pet amenities to expect.
That's, dare I say, awesome. What are we waiting for?
I'm way ahead of you. I just logged on to FidoFriendly.com and found a 4-star resort. Hilton Santa Fe Resort and Spa at Buffalo Thunder in New Mexico.
Charlie agrees. When do we leave?
As soon as you can pack your bags. It's off to adventure with Charlie, thanks to Fido Friendly Magazine. To find your next family adventure that includes your furry family friend, log on to FidoFriendly.com.
Yes, you should write a book, Joey.
I'm going to write a book now.
I'll be real honest.
That's a delayed reaction.
I got to. Go ahead. Her press release and the book, which Judy has read. I have not read the book. And then we're talking about Connie Newcomb, who was on last hour, Dog Show Confidential, sneaking in the back door of Westminster. I thought that it was going to be a little more juicy and gossipy. And when I heard Joey give out more juice and gossip, I'm thinking he needs to write a book.
That's when you know it's that bad. I mean, when you write the book and you're afraid to say stuff in the book, so then you really know it's bad. They're going to put a hit out on you because, you know what, that smooth-coated chihuahua there.
Yeah, he's not going to win.
Every year we talk to Jerry Grymeck from the Hotel Penn, and because they play host. He's the doggy concierge at Hotel Penn, and this time of year it gets kind of crazy over there in the lobbies. Jerry, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's great to chat with you every year.
Yeah, I think this is our 6th or 7th year.
At least.
And
I keep saying...
Let's say a one-dog year. Let's put it that way.
I keep saying next year I'm going to go.
Next year. Yeah, we welcome you every year. Maybe we can make it work next year. Let's hope.
Okay.
Well, we have a lot of new listeners since last year. It keeps growing and getting bigger and bigger. And many of these listeners have not heard you and don't know exactly what you do, but you are the doggy concierge. What does that mean for you?
So essentially, as a doggy concierge for New York's Hotel Pennsylvania, I cater to all the four-legged guests' needs during the Westminster Dog Show time. That includes handling the paparazzi, as I like to call it, handling their food requests, any special hotel requests to make them feel extra comfortable.
Now, what kind of food requests could they possibly get?
Yeah, what crazy things?
Oh, my goodness. We've gotten everything from spinach pizza.
This is for the dogs, right?
For the dog. Oh, yeah. Let me clarify. These are all for the dogs, and I've seen the dogs eat them, so I know it's not just the owners ordering them. We've had chicken sandwiches. I've had burgers with no onions, because onions are bad for the dogs.
Sure.
With no onions, cheeseburgers to be specific. One pug once ate 7 cheeseburgers.
Wow.
Whoa.
So they're getting kind of spoiled at this time of their life.
Well, you know what? Especially before a big show like this, I'm sure they're nervous. But they're show dogs, and you know what? They need to be treated as such.
Absolutely. Now, did they get a little spa? I understand there's a doggy spa going on this year.
Yes. Now, for the listeners, to let you know, we have a full dog spa. We have a whole list of amenities and events, including probably New York's largest indoor doggy spa within a hotel. This includes his and her canine washrooms.
Wow.
They got to keep them separate.
Yeah, you don't want
Of course, we got to be respectful, right?
Sure.
That's right.
We have the grooming tables. We have bathtubs and jacuzzis. And we even have an animal vet and acupuncturist.
Wow, doing a little acupuncture just before the big show. Is this open all year round, or is this just during Westminster?
These services.
Well, these services are mainly during the Westminster Dog Show. However, we are pet-friendly year-round, and we accept dogs of all sizes year-round.
Do you find a lot of celebs with their small little dogs come in there?
Yes, you know what? And that's the thing. They bring the toy dogs.
Sure.
But it's interesting because people, they want to travel with their big bull mastiffs, which are maybe 300 pounds. And the good news is we accept them all sizes, all weights, you name it. We don't discriminate. We love all pets.
Anything?
Are you allowed to? I was just going to say, are you allowed to talk about celebrities and their dogs? I mean, what kind of dogs they have, what you've seen? Comment like George Clooney.
As doggy concierge, there's a code I have to follow.
Code of ethics.
I knew that. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, we have no ethics here at Animal Radio. We don't understand that. What kind of weird things do you expect to be going on this year?
You know what? All the requests come just before the show.
Sure.
However, we've gotten a few calls already for red carpets. Can we get a red carpet rolled out for a dog as soon as it arrives?
Beauty. Hey, what's the most expensive thing a dog has eaten in your hotel? Like a lamp, a TV, a bed?
You know what's interesting? These dogs, they're on their best behavior. They know they're here for a show, so they don't want to disrupt anything. They don't want to get anyone angry because they know everyone's on edge for the big show. So they're good. They're so good we barely know they're there.
Well, you should throw the people out and just have the dogs be there.
You know what? If they could charge it to their credit cards, if they have credit cards, that'd be great.
Little doggy credit cards. I'm telling you, let's get on that.
There you go. There's an app for that.
Jerry?
I got to tell you all, last year, we had a dog who was in a show named Echo Dorio, and Echo loves to be serenaded by opera singers.
Oh, really?
No word of lie, he gets comforted. He actually wears a top hat, bow tie, and tuxedo.
Wow.
This is the dog we're talking about again. And we set it up where an opera singer serenaded him in the lobby before he went to the Westminster Dog Show.
This is amazing. Did it improve his performance?
Yeah.
That is amazing, and what a coincidence, because opera singers love to be serenaded by Hal. They love to be comforted by him.
Look at that. Hal, you got a second career. I
do. Absolutely. Jerry, we thank you so much for joining us. What's the website over there at the Hotel Penn?
www.hotelpenn, that's PENN.com.
And, of course, we'll put links to everything you've heard on today's show over at Animal Radio, and we'll check you next year.
You betcha. I'm looking forward to it, hopefully at the hotel.
Okay. We'll plan it.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Well, we should do a live broadcast from there.
I know.
All of us
next
truck
year.
on out there.
Let's get it.
That's
Keep
a
saying
good
this
idea.
every year. We need to do this.
That guy gets radio. He's good.
He is good.
Listen, we're going to get out of here. That's all we have time for today. We thank you for listening. Remember, you can visit us over on Facebook at Animal Radio, tweet us at Animal Radio, visit us online at animalradio.com, or send us an email at yourvoice at animalradio.com. And, of course, the infamous Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. You can send us your questions right from the app, just as you're listening to Animal Radio. Download it now. And, of course, if you're looking for a vet, check out Dr. Debbie in Las Vegas, if you're in that area, if you're a trucker going through that area. She also has the book, Yorkshire Terrier, Shih Tzus, Pugs, Mini Schnauzers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. Check it out. These are great reads. She's an amazing writer. Next week? Okay, I'm going to tease us. Gareth Morgan. He wants to get rid of all the cats in New Zealand, and he'll be our guest next week. We'll see you. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Always adopt, don't declaw.
This is Animal Radio Network.